Good afternoon, everyone, or good evening, I should say. It is 5:30, and I'm uber excited to be going live with y'all today and discussing event communications. I want to give a quick shout out to the Raptors. Tonight's game is going to be intense, so I know a lot of you are getting ready to watch the game. Some of you are downtown at Jurassic Park or Jurassic West or Jurassic East, whatever. And good for you for being out there. Ain't gonna be me, but good for you for being out there, and great support and much love to the Raptors. Hi girl, how you doing? So I really want to talk to you guys about event communication. Hey Jody Ann. A lot of us either have events, thinking about planning an event, or are in charge of putting an event together, or helping a friend, and you kind of want to be a little bit more equipped to keep your event going well. So I'm going to share a few things with you that I learned about events and about PR and how we could kind of really make our event a complete success. So, first of all, happy June. I can't believe that we're here. I mean, it's crazy that we're already in June, but that means events are going to be popping. The summer is going to be amazing. So for those who don't know me, my name is Jackie. I am the founder of The Well Connected, which is a lifestyle communications agency. So please follow Well Connected TO on Instagram. We are based in Toronto, but do have connections out in the US and hoping to expand later on this year. So I'm a CEO, a boss, a publicist, and I mainly focus on activations and sponsorships in support of people, agencies, and brands. So again, a lot of you guys are going to be hosting your own event or thinking of putting on an event this summer or this year. And I really just wanted to share some tips with you that have helped me along the way. My journey to PR has been a freelance, fail, and figure it out type of journey. But on the flip side, it's been encouraging, it's been challenging, it's been surprising, and honestly, I wouldn't change it for the world. So again, every Sunday around this time, I'm going to be doing a Sunday Connections where I share with you either different people or different tips and things I've learned. So, hey, Shani. So, I already have a question. What are the first steps towards sponsorship from Jody Ann? That is a real cool question. I will talk to you about sponsorship as I get into it. I will be getting into that question in a little bit, but sponsorship is a big thing, and I'm doing a whole workshop on sponsorship. Come to Beauty and the Brand Sunday, June 16th to learn everything I know about sponsorship, but I'll talk about it a little later in the live. So, first things first, when you guys are starting to do your communications, let me back up. What is a events communications plan? So, in PR, we have something called a communications plan. And essentially, it's a strategic tool that helps us navigate the tone and our messages and determine what materials we need and what materials we need and who will be executing these materials for said event. An event communications plan is essentially the same thing, except it's a little bit more tailored to the specifics of the event that you are putting together and you are running. So in order to get things going, you're going to have to map out a few things. And if you checked out my post a few days, I kind of listed the topics, but now I'm going to expand on them. First thing is your theme and event type. It doesn't sound like a big deal, but a theme narrates the entirety of your event. If you don't have a theme and it's not thought out, your sponsors, your guests, your speakers are not going to correlate and they're not going to make any sense. So think of a few things. What type of event are you hosting? What theme will you run with? Who is your intended target? And does the messages you're trying to convey match the theme of your event, and does it make sense? These things also will play a big role, to go back to Jody Ann's question, in regard to sponsorship. I will also talk about media kit, deck, all of that in sponsorship. Jody Ann, girl, I see you with the questions. Okay, thank you. Love it. So a few things first to start when you're thinking of the communications for your event is the who. Who is your audience? Who are you trying to have at this event? Like, are you speaking to mothers? Are you speaking to designers? Are you speaking to publicists? Are you speaking to beauty influencers? Who are you speaking to? A lot of people just want to throw an event, but they're not targeting their event to a specific person. So keep those things in mind. what type of event are you going to have? Is it a podcast event? Is it a panel event? Is it a sponsorship event? Is it a party? What type of event? Again, all of these things will play into sponsorship and also the experience. Where is your event happening? Is it online? Is it a live? There's a lot of live events or live activations. Speaking of online, guys, don't forget to go live at your events. People that are living in different countries, people that can't attend due to other reasons, would love to still be a part of it, and they can be a part of it from the comfort of their own home. So what city or what country are you having your event in? When are you doing it? Guys, when is important? If you're planning an event, don't wait until like, I'm doing one next week. Give yourself some time to let people come on in and get used to this event, especially if you've never done one before. Get used to you. Also, give them time to plan. Dates, holidays are also important. Keep in mind, some people go away. Some people, there's Father's Day. My event happens to be on Father's Day. And again, I should have known this. I'm a publicist. So things slip my mind, but it's another day. It's during the middle of the day. So it's also still very okay. But when are you having your event plays a huge role. Why are you having this event? What does this event mean to you? Why does it mean so much to you? Remember this, you guys. People buy emotions. Hey, Christina. People buy emotions, right? So if you could, I buy a certain deodorant because I like the way it makes me smell, or you like a certain perfume because it gives you this feeling. People buy emotions. So I'm having my masterclass event because, one, I want to give back to people for the 5 years that they've supported me. How do you determine your audience, age, and etc.? Jody Ann, that's an amazing question. So how I determine my audience goes back to who I'm speaking to. So I know for me, the people that reach out to me that like my type of events are people that want to learn about small tips and tricks about PR and things that they can do to elevate their brand. Those are the type of people that I'm speaking to. Age again depends on the theme of the event you're doing. If you're doing a mother-daughter event or a father-daughter event, you're obviously going to want adults and you're going to want children. So again, knowing the theme of your event will determine the age and what audience you're speaking to. And not every event has to have the same theme, same audience. I can do this event for adults. Hey, Jalissa. But I might want to do another event for kids later on down the road. So, you never really know who your audience is until you decide what type of event you're having. So we talked about the why you want to have this event. So the next thing is how. So how does this event benefit your audience? A lot of us forget that. Remember, people are in this to learn. People want to learn something at the end of the day. They either want to walk away with something tangible or walk away with something that's mentally stimulating that they can have to go on and share. People ideally want information, right? So what are you really giving to them that's going to be beneficial to them? The benefit to you is that they're coming to your event to spend money and they're coming to take you in. So you're already benefiting. So just remember to showcase the value to them. Speaking of value, your unique value proposition. What is so unique, hey Kelsey, about what it is that you do? What is so unique about what it is you're offering? Because nowadays, everyone's having a panel event. Everyone's a beauty blogger, influencer, publicist, designer. Everyone is everything. What is unique about what your event is, or what is unique about you that you can bring to the table? What unique value are you offering? For instance, my masterclass happening on June 16th, which is a Sunday. The value is I have 6 incredible people with a wealth of knowledge about branding, about PR, about sponsorship, about podcasting, about managing your brand, who have worked with influencers, who have worked with celebrities, who have done so many different things that are going to be able to give you their insights and who are going to be able to share with you the things that they do. Is it, Jody Ann asks, is it necessary to have goodie bags at your event? No. I'm going to answer this question before I get into the rest of the topics I want to talk about. Goodie bags back in my day, and I'm not that old, I'm only 31.5. But back when I first started, goodie bags were exclusive. You had to be a somebody, or you really had to have some type of value in order to get them. And everybody was like, "Oh, I want a gift bag." It was something coveted. Now, especially here in Canada, it's an expectation. I'll take that back. I can't really say just in Canada, but it has become an expectation that I need to have goodie bags. Let me be clear. It goes back to what I was just talking about. What value do you offer? If the value you're offering isn't anything, then yeah, people are going to want a gift bag. However, if the value is wealth and knowledge, a gift bag is an added bonus. Oh, it's okay, Kelsey. I know you're here in spirit, so I appreciate your love. If the gift bag should always be the added value. I personally don't like promoting gift bags because and no boost to myself, but a few of the events I've had in the past, from what I've heard from people who've attended, my gift bags are top notch. So I've had a lot of people, they come to the event, they stay for 20 minutes and they leave because they get it. They're like, "Oh, well, I'm just here for the gift bag." I've now required that in order to receive a gift bag, you have to be here at the end of my event. Your ticket does not include a gift bag. Your gift bag is my gift to you for coming, but essentially as well, you need to be here to take in the speakers or the people that I have who are here to offer their value and insights, because time is money and their time is very valuable. Gift bags for me, honestly, I could really do without. And I really wish people would jump off the bandwagon and really start coming to events for knowledge and connecting. A lot of us are just coming to gift bags to be seen, to act like, "Oh, I got some free stuff," so they could use it for their channel, but they're missing out on all the amazing things that they can learn from listening and not worrying about what free sample I'm gonna get. Do you know what I mean? So to answer your question, I don't think they're necessary, but teach his own. Everybody does their own thing, right? So if you want to do gift bags, do that, but stop putting paper in the gift bag. Granted, some paper is very valuable, and a lot of people will throw out the paper, and sometimes there's gift cards, sometimes there's amazing things in there, but essentially, if you're going to put something in the gift bag, make it valuable. And what I'm talking about, the theme and event type, your products essentially should match the tone of your event. Because sponsors know that stuff. They know that stuff. They know when you're just reaching, and they know when you've looked at who your audience is, what your event is, what messages you're trying to communicate, and you've noticed that their brand matches those things. Of course, they're going to say yes, and it makes sense for your event. I have another question. What's a good icebreaker for your event to help people network? Wow, that's a really good question, Jody Ann. I'm going to post that one. A great icebreaker. Hey, Vernie. A great icebreaker I like to do is there is bingo. So I have a connector bingo where you got to go around and you got to find people who either have their own business or who's a mom or who has traveled to 7 countries. Get people to break outside of their zone. Also start walking up to people, saying hi to people, saying, "Hey, I want you to introduce somebody else. I want to introduce you to somebody, make them feel welcome." Also, a great thing for icebreakers, start going to events by yourself. Stop going with your friends to these events, because what happens is we go to these events and we stay in our cliques, and you miss out on the opportunities of really connecting with people and meeting people that could actually be a huge benefit to your event. But for me, I like the bingo. There's other ones where I've seen where you will have different people will have name tags, and there's a question on the name tag and somebody has an answer, or you got to find somebody else with the same name tag question as yours, and you got to find them and meet with them and then discuss the conversation. Those ones I like as well. Back to what I was saying, last thing I was talking about after value was tone in terms of your language. What language are you trying to communicate with your event? Is it fun and flirty? Is it silly? Is it emotional? all of those things will play a role in how you get sponsors or how you get your audience. Because if I'm going to talk about mental health, unless you're poking fun at mental health or you're doing something that's fun activities to break you out of mental health, then you're going to want to do fun and crazy communications. If it's something that's more on the serious side, your tone is going to have to be a lot more serious so people know that they're coming to an event that has a serious tone. Because if I was going to an event and the tone seems to be serious, but I go to the event, I'm expecting it to be serious, but it's all laughing, fun, and games. You've now lost me because I came there with a different mentality. So your tone in which you communicate is very important. Next step for your event communications plan is having team leads. If you don't have a team, get a team, or if it's just for your event, try to find people that can help you execute your roles, because I'm guilty of this, and Chantel, Shani Cares will tell you, and a lot of other people will tell you, prefer to do everything myself, but I'm not Wonder Woman. So you really have to have a team of people. Hey, Javon, that can, Javon wants to do a live, that can help you execute your event very well. Javon, I'll have you on after I go through some of these points, because I really want to get to the nitty gritty of sponsorship, in which Jody Ann had talked about earlier. So do you have a team? And you'll need them to help you run your event smoothly. So having a team ensures accountability, and ensures things get done, because doing stuff yourself, things will get lost. So some core people you'll need for your team are a venue team lead. You need someone who could communicate effectively with the venue and understand whether or not you need permits, whether or not you need licensing, what time you could get into the venue. No, Javon, I'm never dissing you, bro. I'm never dissing you. Speaking of volunteers, Jody Ann, I'm going to talk about that actually in this section. So venue team is very important, because a lot of people fail to ask the venue a lot of questions or go through a run-through checklist of lighting. Is there adequate lighting? Do you need to bring in lighting? Do you have Wi-Fi? Is there Wi-Fi available for everybody? If everyone's on the Wi-Fi, will it cut out, the presentations you're going to do or the live streaming you're going to do, right? So you want to really have somebody who could focus on going to the venue and really understanding all the ins and outs and what you need to ensure your event's successful. You're going to need a team lead to handle speakers, panelists, experts, vendors, and volunteers. To answer Jody Ann's question, what's the best way to approach getting volunteers for your events? Honestly, going to schools like George Brown, Seneca, that have events programs, and saying, hey, I'm reaching out to the coordinator and saying, hey, I'm running an event. I would like to have some volunteers. Keep in mind, a lot of these volunteers need hours to complete for school. So it's a great way to get free help. But make sure it's a value for them. Give them a gift bag. Make sure they're learning. Assign them roles of authority so they can take charge of a situation where they feel it's also beneficial to them. Also, ask online. It's huge help to go on your social media and say, hey guys, I'm having an event. Would anybody like to help volunteer? We're giving you free food, free swag bags, and experience. And you'll be surprised how many people turn out to support you. But yeah, your speakers, panelists, experts, vendors, and volunteers lead. They need to find those people, communicate with them, and give them the ins and outs of the events, assign roles, rules, and responsibilities to the volunteers, ensure that the vendors have the proper tables, lighting, chairs, whatever you've promised them, and your speakers, panelists, and experts are still on board with what's happening. Sponsors. Have somebody who's dedicated and their job is only to source, find, communicate, finalize, and receive from sponsors. Because sponsors need a lot of communication. Just because they've said yes to you doesn't mean they don't hear from you until the event. If something changes, like you're changing the number of guests, you're either adding or decreasing, let your sponsor know. The venue's changing, let your sponsor know. The date changes, let your sponsor know. Anything that changes, let your sponsor know. Okay, keep them in the know. The more, it's like going on a date or having a meeting and someone's supposed to meet you. The biggest thing that cheeses me is people not at least communicating that I'm going to be late or I'm not coming and I'm here wasting my time, or I'm assuming that you're good on your word. Communicate with your sponsors. The more information you give them, the more likely they are to work with you in the future. Social media. Have somebody to coordinate your social media. I cannot express how many people miss out on measurement, which is I'll talk about later. Measurement opportunities, experience, fan interaction. A lot of people don't have somebody that can do it. If you're hosting the event, but you have, say, a host or someone that's going to MC, doesn't necessarily mean that you can do social. Because remember, when shit hits the fan, everyone's running to you. You don't have time to split yourself. Have someone that's dedicated on social media that can coordinate, plan, and execute the post as well as measure your interactions. Food and drink person, have someone that can do that, that source food, source drinks, get any liquor licenses, any permits that they may need, and a post follow-up lead, which is probably somebody else who has a smaller role that can do all the follow-up. So reach out to the rest of your team to get all the things they need to follow up with sponsors, vendors, speakers, and stuff afterwards. Next, once you have those things down and you know who's going to do, you put them in an event to-do list, which all goes in your communications plan. And what I will say to this is my communications, events communications plan is actually a printed binder that I will have somebody that's next under me, I would guess you say, that can have everything there. And it includes, permits, it includes any liquor licenses, it includes contracts, it includes anything I need to communicate for the day, my timeline of the event, contact list for everybody, for speakers, vendors, sponsors, venue, etc. And that binder stays, it's digital as well. It's on a Google Drive, it's on everyone's, is on my team's email, as well as it's printed physically at the venue in case things happen and I need to find something. But my event to-do list, I call it an I-10. It's my I-10 plan. So it literally is the what, the dates, the who, which equals accountability. So date, location, and venue needs to be one box, and the date in which you're going to find the venue, you're going to reach out and all that stuff, and then the date it was secured, or the date it needs to be completed by. Sponsor list. Sponsors is one tab, and then it's sponsor list created. You're going to have the date that it needs to be completed by, and when that's done, you check it off, and then who's responsible for that. And then same with sponsorship outreach, you're going to have that as well. Speaking vendors, etc. Creating promo materials, marketing materials. Again, you're going to list the materials that you need. You're going to have the date that it needs to be completed by, the date that those things need to be posted and sent out, and who's responsible for it, and then when it was completed. Payments, rentals, all of that stuff as well. Food, drink, and liquor, you're going to include those. Orders, shipping, and printing. Guys, that's really key. A lot of us have to order in things. We have to ship things that are from a different country. We have to do a lot of different things, and we don't do it in time. That is number one on your list. If you're having an event and you need to order something in, I need you guys to have those, the date of what it needs to be ordered, the date in which it needs to be shipped here by, who's responsible for it. Sorry, let me go to a question. Jody Ann asks, do you have email templates that you can help someone that isn't well versed in contacting sponsors? I do. I normally charge for those, so we could talk about that. You could hit me up, but I will share a few free templates as well about sponsorship. Also, if you guys come to the event on June 16th, I can give you those. I'm going to be going through all of my templates and everything that I offer in terms of what I use to secure the brands that I use and how I go about that. So I can definitely share that for y'all if you come on the 16th. If not, we could have a call about that. I do have a package that I offer where I go through your events communications, or I kind of do an audit of your plan. And if you want me to write your email for you, I can. Or if you want me to advise you on the things that you need, I can. Or you can buy my Alta package, which offers all of that. Shout out to Patrina from Woman in Power Toronto. But I do have a package that I sell those templates to. So, as I said, guys, getting ahead of ordering, printing, and shipping. Get ahead of this as far as you can. I cannot tell you how many things I've had left at printers, didn't get printed in time, left at the border, didn't clear customs. It's super important to get your orders, shipping, and printing for your event planned out well in advance. And then the materials. So what materials do you need to draft for the event? Is it a press release? Is it a sponsorship deck, communications packages? What materials do you need to draft? So you list it in your I-10. So the materials, flyer needs to be done, graphics needs to be done for that, promo videos, etc., etc., etc. Who's going, the date that it needs to be done by, who's going to do it, and when it was completed. I have a question. How do you maintain a sponsorship relations? I will talk about that when I get to sponsorship, which is next. Jody Ann, you was on the ball, girl. Okay, so also, again, guys, always, 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 accountability is who's responsible for these tasks. Next, sponsor communications. This is a big one. So, a few things to note about sponsorship, guys. Sponsors need time. If you're doing an event next month, unless you have a real good in, or you're not asking for a lot, and I say anything under 20, 30 products within a month, you may be lucky to get some stuff. When you start hitting 40 plus, you need to give your sponsors time. That's for product, okay? When we're looking at monetary sponsors, 6 to 8 months. Excuse me. You need 6 to 8 months to get them to get back to you, because you guys have to understand, there is a chain of command, even for product, that sponsors have to go through. Unless you know the CEO or the COO or the head of financial for this company, and even with that being said, they still need to make sure that they're not increasing their sponsorship budget for the year, they're not maxing it out, and they have enough capital to give you. So give your sponsors time. 6 to 8 months is a great time for sponsors to make a decision, to get back to you if they can't give you back what you've actually asked for. It's a good time for them to kind of feel things out for you, say, no, I can't. Or, they could be like, I can't give you this, but I would be willing to work with you on that. You also need to know what you're sending them. But have you figured out who their audience is? A lot of us reach out to a lot of brands because we just want this product, because we want to make our bags look good, our event looks good. But have you checked out that brand? Have you seen the events that they've started sponsoring? Take inventory on social media of the brands that you want to work with. If Nike's a brand you want to work with, start following Nike. Follow the influencers that they're following. When they post about an event, see what type of events that they're aligning their brand with, and see if your event makes sense. Or if it doesn't make sense initially, like I've been to a few events that the Jordan shoe brand has given away shoes. Okay, but they're going to give away the shoes, but the influencers that are on the panel make sense. These are people that like Jordans, wear Jordans, or are known for that type of stuff. So make sure that you're finding the likeliness between your event and the brand that you want, right? Because a lot of us, brands know when you're just reaching because you need product. I've been on both sides. I've been the pitcher and I've been the pitchy. We know when you're reaching for product just because you want something to have. Align with your event. And it goes back to exactly the first point I talked about, which was theme. If you're doing a woman empowerment theme or you're doing a branding theme, I should have products that align with branding. So therefore, my event on June 16th has a number of amazing photo opportunities that the brands there can have their products videotaped, photographed by influencers, etc., and can have new content and product that they don't have to pay for. I'm also going to be talking about levels of branding and how brands do things well. So again, for them, this makes sense. So what else? So does your sponsor make sense for your event? Have you researched who their audience is and what type of events they're participating in? Do you know what you are asking for? Again, a lot of us hit up a brand. Hey, I'm having an event. It's like 75 people. It's 100 people. I just need product. Well, say for instance, L'Oreal. L'Oreal is actually a brand. Outside of the actual makeup they own a number of other brands. NYX is an example. So if you're going to reach out to L'Oreal, if it's L'Oreal, the product you want, specify, hey, Jackie at L'Oreal, I am looking for, 75 of your Ruby Red L'Oreal lipstick. But if it's NYX products you're looking for, specify, hey, I'm looking for the NYX, gloss and this, that, and the third. Be very specific in your ask, because you don't ever really want to leave things in turn to the sponsor to decide. You want to give them something, and they're either going to say yes or no, or come back to you with an alternative, right? And does what you're asking for match in the value of what you're giving? I tell my clients this all the time. What is your ask and what is your give? What are you asking for? And if you're asking for $7,500 worth of product, are you giving $7,500 worth of exposure in promotion, online promotion, in the guests in the audience that are going to be there. I have a question. After your event, what is the first thing you should do? I will answer that question when I get to the end of this, because a post-event report is extremely important. Okay, so what value are you giving back? And again, these things will be important when you're reaching out in the future, okay? You want to make sure that there's a type of measurement there. Is there an ROI or ROE for your sponsor? What do those two things mean? So ROI is return on investment. A lot of us, to be honest with you, don't really and can't really give back a return on investment to our sponsor unless you are like a Kylie Jenner, or you have a huge following that you know that your client will make back money in sales. Then of course you can give on the ROI. But for the most part, and all honest with you, a lot of us are on an ROE, which is return on engagement. So if I have, for instance, I have Jack Daniels sponsoring my event on the 16th, and I keep doing a shameless plug because I would love for y'all to be there. However, my return on engagement for Jack Daniels is we're going to be showcasing one of their newest liquors that they have, and we're doing a custom made drink. So of course, the ROE is that my guests are going to be here. They're going to try the drink. They're probably going to share it in their stories. They're going to talk about it. And again, ROE, return on engagement, people are going to be taking photos, images, videos, boomerangs, whatever, of themselves with a Jack Daniels drink. The possible return on engagement for them is that if you like this brand of liquor, and you like the taste of this liquor in particular, the next time you're having a birthday party or an event, you're more likely to go out and buy that same flavor because you like the taste that you had at my event. So with sponsors, you got to give one. If you can't give both, you got to give one. If you're not giving ROI, which is return on investment, you got to give ROE, which is return on engagement. If you can do both, you're a G. Also, when you're looking for sponsors, do your sponsorship to your country. I've been guilty. I have a wandering eye, so I see a lot of brands that I've worked with in the States, or I've gotten in free swag, or I see online, I'm like, I need this brand. They don't ship here. So instead of wasting time emailing them, do some research and find out if they ship here. And then how do you maintain a sponsorship relationship? As I said before, communicate with your sponsors. Don't leave them don't leave them to fade to black. Don't leave them in Wonderland wondering what's happening with you. Communicate with them. Figure out what they need. Ask them questions. Before I normally reach out to most of my sponsors, I've gotten into the habit of having calls and asking them, hey, what are you up to? What are your marketing tactics for the rest of 2019? And they will tell me, hey, Jackie, like Flow Water, for instance, has said to me, they're focusing on more wellness and fitness events. My event's not wellness and fitness, so it doesn't really align with their needs. So now I know, oh, okay, cool. I keep it in the back of my mind. And as a publicist, I do have a lot of events that reach me. So now when I have a fitness client, I'm like, perfect. I can now send them over this deck or send them this client that better fits their needs. Remember, relationships are key in sponsorship. So asking a sponsor what it is they're looking for, what type of events they're trying to put on or participate in, what type of audience they're trying to capture, lets them know that you're in tune and you're forethinking about their needs. Because again, if you can fulfill their needs, they're more than willing to give you the things that you need. Next up on my event communications plan list is a rollout for social media. You guys, you need to have a social media plan for your event. So where online is your audience again? How are you going to reach them? And don't just stick to one platform. For me, I'm looking for entrepreneurs, people who are starting their business, have a business, or looking to build their brand. My audience, there's a huge audience on social media, on Instagram, but I could find most of these people on Facebook in specific groups that talk to girl bosses, entrepreneurs, blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to start promoting my event to them in those groups, as well promoting on Instagram. Again, what tone and materials will I use? For LinkedIn, I'm not going to have the same bubbly tone. It's going to be the same, but it's going to be tailored a little bit differently. I'm not going to be like, hey guys, I'm having this event, come through, da 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 da. No. On LinkedIn, I'm more likely going to be like, I'm really excited to be connecting with fellow PR people and branding, marketing people for this event that I'm hosting on the 16th. Your tone changes a little bit, but I'm speaking to that audience on LinkedIn. On Twitter, I'm obviously going to be dropping questions. You're obviously going to be doing polls. You're going to be doing what works for that platform. Not everything, all the materials you're creating can be copied and pasted to every single platform, because then you're not speaking to that mentality that's there. So really understanding your tone and what materials or tricks and tips that you need on that platform is what's going to make you successful in communicating those tone. And where will your content live? Is it going to be just strictly on Facebook? Is it strictly on Instagram? Is it all across the board? Where's this content that you're promoting for your event on social going to live? And again, what platforms is your audience using? Are you activating them properly? Are you having an influencer pull in people to attract people to your event? Also, the day of, y'all need somebody to do social media the day of your event. As I mentioned before, somebody to go online, to go live, to interact with your audience, but also be clear. Is your brand something that stands out on their own? Where if I was doing social media for you, do you want to hear my voice? Do you want to see my face? Or do you want to solely be about your event? Or do you have a social media influencer who you've hired to kind of draw on that audience? Or are they going to be going live, asking questions, talking about their experience? Understand what type of message you want to send during your event, right? Next, guys, videos and photos. I can't stress this enough. You have to have a specific person do that. And you have to be very clear with what materials you need from the videographer, the photographer, and even the person doing social. Also remember, what promises did you make to your sponsors or speakers or panelists in terms of what they will get at the end of this, right? So are you going to be giving them photos and videos, and what type? Did you promise them custom photos of their products in the gift bag, products in hand with vendors or sponsors, displayed out? What did you offer them? What did you lure them into to say yes? Make sure you give that. I need you to have a shot list. A shot list is for your photographer, your videographer, and now your social media person. Specific shots or videos that you need. I love creatives, and I believe in creatives having their own voice and being able to see things. I'm not a videographer or photographer, so there's some good key cornerstone things that I'm not going to see. However, I've promised my sponsors certain activations. I've promised them certain images. I need to have a shot list that you write up, you print, you email it over to your photographer and videographer 2 or 3 days before the event. You have it printed at the event. You keep it on your phone, and you give that to them in person when they're there. If I have Jack Daniels, hey, whoever's doing my video photography and social, I need direct shots of the Jack Daniels bottles. I need video of the bartender pouring the Jack Daniels to make a drink. I need girls clinking their glasses or sharing it. If you have to stage the people, stage the people. But I need those things because I want to give that back to Jack Daniels or Soho Sweet Carts or whoever my sponsor is, to know that I held on my word, right? Never listen. It's so important to have a shot list because you miss a lot of opportunities and images, and it's all due to the lack of direction. I allow the creative to be their creative, but everything on that list has to be checked off. Period. If it's not checked off, they didn't do their job. They need to figure it out. Audience and promotion. So who's responsible for seeking out your audience and promoting your messages? This goes back a little bit to social media as well. So where's your audience living? Who are they? Where do they hang out online? And where are they going to go? So if your event is very specific, you'll have to do some research to sort them out. If you're doing something so niched, like a horror kind of event, you're going to have to seek out people who love horror movies. But again, for promotion, are paid posts worth it? It really depends on the type of event you're having. If you're having a speaker come out, I would suggest doing a few paid posts because you want to build that notoriety. But if you're very active in your plan, you're in Facebook groups, you're in LinkedIn groups, you're in people's DMs, you're posting. Also, guys, everybody who's a speaker, panelist, vendor, sponsor needs to promote your event. I'm done with this. They don't want to put up the flyer. It doesn't have to live on your Instagram. Give them options. Give them Instagram feed post or give them IG stories. Either which way, they need to promote. Yes, it is your job to lure the audience, but you're also using them for, one, their expertise, and let's be clear, you're using them for also the possible audience they have access to. They need to communicate that to their presence to their audience. And guys, who doesn't want to talk about themselves? I don't know. If you put me on a flyer, hey, guys, I'm going to be speaking because I'm so excited to share what I have to share with you, or else I wouldn't have said yes to this event, right? Make sure they do that. It needs to be in a contract. It needs to be a requirement and non-negotiable. Videos are always a great tie-in for your event. There are 4 types of videos you can do. So there is a pre-event excitement, which is maybe a little GIF, a little video of either you or or you could stage a little photo shoot if you have the budget to kind of entice people. There is a past event recap event, if applicable. So if you have this event in the past, I would suggest posting past images and videos, a little recap of, so people could get an idea of what to expect. There is a direct promotion of venue sponsors experience. So it could be a little GIF of their logos. It could be a little, doing the gift bags, goodie bags, or setting up the venue, whatever. And then of course your post-event recap. Measurement. A lot of you guys miss this. And again, a lot of you guys don't know. You need to measure the success of your event. This is how you're going to attract more people in the future as well as sponsors, okay? So how are you measuring the traction and success of your event before, during, and after? So measuring before is how many people clicked your Eventbrite link, what the demographics are on your Eventbrite, your social media, all of that stuff. You really need to track all of that, because when you do your wrap reports and recaps, you want to have something tangible to give back to your sponsors. So are you measuring the demographics on Facebook? Are you using polls and asking questions on Instagram to boost excitement? Are you asking your audience what they want? I'm having an event. What do you guys want to hear? I have an addendum of what I want to talk about, but maybe, so recently I just added podcasts to my event because I had a few people say, I'd really like to know about podcasting. I listened to what my audience wanted, so now I present that to them. So during your event, track your likes, track how many people commented, followed, used your hashtag. You have to have a hashtag. Not all your sponsors will show up to your event, you guys, but if you don't have a hashtag, how can I check what's happening? Have a hashtag, whether it be, 50-50, whatever the case may be. Yes, guys, Jody Ann is going to be talking along with McKinney Smith about podcasting, so come on in for that. But hashtags are extremely important for your event, because if I'm in another country and I want to see what happened for your event, I can use your hashtag. Also, you guys, not all of the people that are coming to your event are going to follow you. They may not tag you. They may hashtag the event. So the hashtag allows you to see where your audience is, and you get to see other things about your event that you didn't see. Because if you're running it, 9 times out of 10, you didn't see your event because you're so crazy doing everything else. But measurement allows you to track and prove your ROI and ROE. And again, you're going to need that for your post event, which is what I'm talking about right now. So to go back to Jody Ann's question, after your event, what is the first thing you should do other than sending thank you emails to sponsors? So basically, how do you maintain the relationship? So just because your event is done doesn't mean the communications have to stop. They shouldn't stop. So a recap also helps. So recap is sharing your post events online, thanking your sponsors one more time in a final post, sharing. Make sure you share every single tag, comment, screenshot, everything. Share it online to let people know my event was a success and a lot of people came. Excuse me. Send a survey send a survey back to your guests and ask for feedback. What you could have done better, what worked, what didn't work, what they liked, what they didn't like, and what would they like to see in the future. You'll have everybody's email, so you should be able to send them that, or you print out the survey at the event and you give them to them before they leave. Share your insights with your speakers, panelists, and sponsors. So I put something together called a wrap report. It's an intensive and extensive report. It's couple pages depending on the event. It literally breaks down, again, the who, the what, the where, the why, the how, the value. It also breaks down every single sponsor. So what sponsor participated, what they gave. Depending on the sponsor, I might not, or depending on who I'm sending it to, I might create 2 or 3 which have actual hard dollar values. So like an investor who gave you 10 or 11 grand or 20 grand, they're going to want to see the numbers. So you're going to have to break down, John Frieda gave me $7,000 worth of product, and they're going to want to see what your net and your gross is, right? But I'm going to break down every single sponsor. I'm going to break down my speakers. I'm also going to break down their following. So if I have Jody Ann, say I have Patrina from Women in Power Toronto speaking, I'm going to add Jody Ann's followers, plus Patrina's followers, plus my followers. That gives you my total reach. A lot of people are not putting your reach, putting your impressions, putting the amount of hashtags and follows. Track all of it. Have your social media person or an assistant tracking how many people liked and comment in a notebook, because again, this will help determine whether or not the sponsor found this valuable, whether or not they would participate next year. And also, when you're reaching out to new sponsors in the future, hey, here's a report of our last event so you could see what the measurements were, so you can gauge whether it was valuable or not. So again, stats are also important. And what is your call to action? A lot of us have our events and then they end. We say thank you to the sponsor and that's it. Why are we not asking the sponsor if they're interested in participating next year? Or if they're interested in any of the events, if you're someone who's used to putting on events all the time or attending events as a speaker, as a panelist, would they be interested in you reaching out to them in the future to pitch other ideas or other events that may come up? Most of the time they're going to say, yeah, Jax, sure, send me a deck or send me something. And Patrina, I actually would love to have you as a speaker at another event. So we got to talk about that. And Jalissa too. So how do you continue the conversation, you guys? The wrap report is a great way to continue the conversation, because this is, hey, this is what we did. And you let them know, I plan on doing this again next year. So I'll be sure to reach out to you in November. Give them a hard date so they know, and put it in your calendar from now. I reach out to Jalissa at XYZ Company, November 9th, 2019. So I know we covered a lot of things and we're almost close to the end of our live. So does anybody have any specific questions that I didn't ask? Anything you want to know? Anything I could elaborate or expand on? And also, what did you guys think of this live? Did you find it useful? Did you find I missed some things? Like, I would love to know your feedback so I could kind of be more useful and helpful to you guys. But no, thank you for everybody for tuning in and listening to me and listen to all the things that I had to say. As I mentioned before, I kind of fell into this industry, so a lot of what I found I learned by accident. A lot of what I learned was trial and error. I made a lot of mistakes, and thank God I learned quickly, because Lord only knows. But everything's a learning experience. I'm still learning, I'm still growing, even though I've been in this for a while. There's always something new to learn. Jody Ann is asking, what is the first thing you should do after your event? The first thing you should do after your event, take a breath. I normally do my wrap reports and stuff within 2 to 3 weeks after the event. Gives me time to get all of my stats. Take a breath. You've worked hard. You've done a lot of things. Give yourself a pat on the back. Regardless if the event was a complete success or a fail, you still put yourself out there to produce something. So give yourself a round of applause. Capture all of your stats. So be a screenshot queen, screenshot bat out of hell, screenshot everything, because especially in your stories and stuff, they will disappear. Your metrics go away every week. Screenshot, save it in a folder so you could reflect back to it for your wrap report that you are going to produce, right? And then tell your sponsors, send an email right after your event saying to the guests that attended, we thank everybody for coming. We really appreciate you. Here's our survey. Also, we'll be posting the photos in a couple days to the LinkedIn. We'll send you another email, or follow us on social media to keep posted on when the link's going to be posted. Shoot your sponsors a note. Hey, so-and-so, the event was a huge success. Thank you so much for participating. I'll touch base in a few weeks with a wrap report report or some stats for you about the events, as well as photos. I also forgot to mention, create a Google Drive or a Dropbox where after your photographer and videographer is done, you could upload all the photos, and then when you send your individual wrap report, which I suggest sending from a link on Google Drive, because some emails will block a certain amount of MBMs, but then you kind of actually, for specific sponsors, drag specific photos, because you might have agreed to doing something specific for one sponsor that you didn't do for another, right? So you don't want to upset anybody. So send them the link to those photos and videos separately. Also, give your video people some time to get that stuff edited. Asking them for a 24-hour turnaround is unrealistic unless you're paying them for that 24-hour turnaround. So please be cautious. Woman of Power Toronto says, when thanking your sponsors, are you going to do this through the same way you reached out to them or personally? It depends on your relationship. I personally will follow up with an email, depending on the sponsor. If they gave me something really great or they went over and beyond, I've often been known to send out flowers to my sponsor, or I've said, hey, Patrina, I would, if you're available, I would love to have like coffee with you. I have something for you. Sometimes I give them a gift bag from the event. They may or may not want their own products, but they might be interested in some of the products that they've received. Side note, if your sponsors do end up coming to your event, have a bag for your sponsors. They may say, no, I don't want it, but these people are human. They may want the products as well. And this is also you expanding the brands that you've reached with. You're giving them access to other people. But in terms of reaching out to your sponsor, do it any way that feels comfortable. If you have a good relationship and you've been keying with a sponsor, ask them for coffee, shoot them a call. Guys, people often forget to pick up the phone. The phone is a dying art. Call a sponsor, leave a voicemail. Hey Lydia, this is Jackie from The Well Connected. Again, I want to thank you so much for the products. The guests love them. They had so many great things to say. I'll shoot you over a note in the email, just recapping in a few weeks. But if you have time, I'd love to go for coffee. Jody Ann's point of maintaining a relationship, try to get in front of your sponsors by going to coffee with them. If they're in the country, try to take them out for coffee, try to meet them, ask to go to their office, and say, hey, I'd love to know more about your brand and what other things you do, and see if you can go meet them. Hi, Whip Toronto and Kyle. See if you can go meet your sponsors and get in their offices and see them. This is a great way to build relationships. As I've said a multitude of times, your sponsors are human. They are people. People buy emotions. If you can connect personally with a sponsor on a one-way, you guys build a relationship, they're more likely to help you out in the future, because they have a face to a name. A lot of us only know people on email and we've never met them. If you can't meet them in person, hop on an IG live with or IG call with them, an Uber conference. If they're in a different country, get face to face. Hey, I just wanted to meet you. I just wanted to say hi. Thank you. Build a human connection. Because a lot of great sponsorships come out of connections. A lot of mine are cold calls. I do a lot of cold calling and cold emailing because I love knowing brands. But I do a lot of asking. Hey, even before I go for the kill of asking you to sponsor, depending on the timing of my event or whatever, I will shoot an email if I have enough time and say, hey, Danielle at XYZ company, I want to know more about your brand. Do you have time to hop on a quick call? I want to tell you a little bit about what I do and see what you do and see if there could possibly be a collaboration. Don't necessarily go for the kill and say, oh, I'm running an event, unless they really ask. Sometimes the beauty is letting people talk about themselves and then bouncing back to them later on. Hey, Lindsay, bouncing back to them later on with, hey, so-and-so, I loved our call. Thank you for your time the other day. So as I reflected back on our conversation, here's a few ways where I feel that you and I could work together. So I run X, Y, and Z. I do X, Y, and Z, X, Y times a year. Build relationships with your sponsors. Because again, they're human. Other PR people are great to reach out to, asking to go to coffee and just getting to know people. But give yourself the time. If you know you have an event that you're going to run 6 months from now, start now building those relationships. Go online. If you want to work with Nike, be liking post on the post on Nike's Instagram, commenting, genuine commenting, going into their Facebook. I get a lot of connections by going onto the Facebook and doing their chats and saying, hey, do you guys have a few minutes to chat? Because there is a human behind these platforms, and a lot of us forget that. And speaking to these sponsors, PR people, brand managers, and asking them what their brand is up to for 2019 or the next year is a great way to gauge where you fit in. Because you might realize that the event you have planned doesn't necessarily match with this brand, but something else might happen. But also, by developing this honest, integral relationship, you're also going to have them they'll keep you on their mind, where when they're doing something, they might reach out to you, be like, hey Patrina, or hey Lindsay, let me know what you're up to. Prime example, last year around this time, I'd reached out to a lady in the States for some celebrity action for a client's charity event. We were able to get the celebrity to do a couple video drops for my client's charity, which was amazing. Jamie reached out to me last week asking me, hey Jackie, do you have anything coming up for TIFF? I would love to chat with you about what possible opportunities my clients and your clients could work with. I was like, cool, okay. She reached out to me with a whole deck of every single sponsor or client she's working with. And I'm talking big name, like A-list celebrities. And she's like, are you going to be in LA anytime soon? I said, actually, I will be. Boom, we're going for coffee when I go to LA this month. And we're going to just chat and chop it up and see what we can do. Because I don't have any projects for her right now. But the fact is, I'm getting in front of it to meet with her when TIFF comes around in the next month or two. When I start planning, her and I might be able to work on something. Again, I know a lot of people are asking me about sponsorships. So a good way to get other opportunities for sponsors and building relationships is LinkedIn. Reaching out on LinkedIn to different brand managers, sponsors, and again, start simple by asking to chat. Asking if they have 5 minutes of your time for a quick call. Yes, Patrina, build genuine relationships, because everything is about connections. As my agency is called The Well Connected, you have to build relationships. But again, you have to start coldly. I've built relationships with Dana of OPI over the last year and a half, just online. And we have, I always ask her, what are you up to? Do you need any support from me in anything? And she'll be like, oh, we have an event. Do you know anybody in Canada? I said, I might. And it might be out of my realm, but I'll reach out to some people I know, and I could get her something. And if not, I can't. But now when I need something, I also know what Dana's looking for. So I don't send her events. I don't bombard her inbox with nothingness, because we've talked and I've built a relationship and understand what type of events that OPI is looking for. So then it's easier to get a yes from her, because now I've built that relationship. So all in all, you guys, I'm going to hop off this live. It's been about an hour. I appreciate and I'm so thankful for your time. If anybody has any further questions, feel free to DM me, email me, info@thewellconnected.ca. Shoot me a note. I'm more than willing and happy to respond. Every Sunday, I will be doing Sunday Connections, which I'll be talking about a topic or connecting with somebody live and just talking about their brand. So it might not always be a tip of advice, but it may be just getting to know a different person in a different country and what they're up to. If you are free, Father's Day, Sunday, June 16th, from 1 to 5, mixing hour from 12 to 1 o'clock. Come out. I have Frida and Ancora. I have Tamina. I have Justin Mobb, McKinney Smith. I have Jodianne Beckford, including myself, coming out and speaking, dropping these gems. I'll be sharing everything on just strictly sponsorship, how I get sponsors, how I reach out to them, the tools and templates I use, what you really need to know about sponsorship. I'm giving away all of my goodies at that event. So come out through. We have great sponsors. We have mixed drinks from Jack Daniels. We have products from Kula. We have Soho Sweet Carts offering a full sweet carts. Guys, it's going to be great. Milk and Honeys is doing a coloring bar, a full sketch, and you'll be able to color. So come in. Please spend time with me. I would love to meet everybody or reconnect with you guys. Thank you again for your time, you guys. Have a great Sunday. Go Raptors, go. Sorry, Warriors, you gotta go. All right, guys. Thank you. I love you so much. Thank you. Ciao.